The most terrifying UFO encounter in aviation history, the 1986 Japan Airlines 1628 incident. High above the remote wilderness of eastern Alaska, the clear evening sky stretches endlessly, silent and unassuming. Inside the cockpit of Japan Airlines Flight 1628, Captain Kenju Terauchi and his seasoned crew navigate their Boeing 747 cargo plane through the calm, routine flight from Paris to Tokyo. But at precisely 5:11 p.m., the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary. Two dazzling objects abruptly appear, ascending from the dark horizon below. Their lights are intensely bright, illuminating the cockpit so vividly that the crew feels warmth radiating onto their faces. But most baffling is their movement, swift, precise, coordinated, nothing like conventional aircraft. Then, as suddenly as they arrived, the two objects vanish, only to be replaced by an immense disc-shaped craft, described chillingly by Captain Terauchi as twice the size of an aircraft carrier. Anchorage Air Traffic Control and Almendorf Air Force Base radar struggle to make sense of conflicting signals, while the pilots' voices reveal confusion, curiosity, and genuine alarm. For Terauchi and his crew, this encounter leaves an enduring shadow. Questioned relentlessly, careers disrupted, lives altered forever. But what exactly was in those skies over Alaska? Was it extraterrestrial contact, or is there another, more earthbound explanation hidden beneath official statements and contradictory radar data? Shadow on the radar. As Flight 1628 navigates a lonely stretch over Alaska, the massive craft silently keeps pace, trailing them. Anchorage Air Traffic Control receives a first urgent radio transmission from Captain Terauchi. His voice, steady but tinged with unease, describes the impossible scenario unfolding around their aircraft. Controllers in Anchorage are initially baffled. Their radar screens show nothing unusual, prompting skepticism. Yet, soon after, radar operators at Almendorf Air Force Base detect something. An unidentified return briefly flickers across their monitors. Confusion deepens as military and civilian controllers attempt to coordinate, scrambling to verify the pilot's account. Meanwhile, inside the cockpit, tension escalates. The crew struggles with disbelief and growing anxiety. Terauchi, an experienced former fighter pilot with over 10,000 hours of flight experience, remains adamant about what they see: an enormous, intelligently controlled object maneuvering silently and effortlessly around their plane. As the event stretches on minute after minute, Anchorage Control requests assistance from nearby aircraft. A United Airlines passenger flight and a military C-130 transport plane are rerouted to visually confirm the anomaly. But when these aircraft arrive in the area, they report clear skies, no sign of the immense craft described by the Japanese pilots. The contradiction between the pilot's vivid encounter and radar's intermittent detection becomes the heart of the mystery. Was Flight 1628's crew experiencing something extraordinary, or were they victims of atmospheric tricks and visual illusions? As these questions mount, the stakes rise dramatically, placing careers, credibility, and perhaps even national security on the line. To fully understand what happened that night, we must now enter the tangled world of investigation, controversy, and secrecy that surrounded the Japan Airlines incident from the moment Flight 1628 touched down in Anchorage. The dramatic encounter. Inside the cockpit, routine quickly gave way to apprehension. Minutes earlier, Captain Terauchi and his experienced crew had been enjoying a calm, uneventful flight over Alaska's dark wilderness. But now, the atmosphere changed completely. At first, it seemed like distant lights, perhaps another aircraft, or reflections off the clouds. Nothing unusual, but within moments, those distant lights moved closer, breaking every rule of conventional flight dynamics. They ascended suddenly, Terauchi later recalled vividly, as if rising from the depths of the earth itself. The strange lights intensified, their brightness growing sharply until the entire cockpit was bathed in an eerie glow. The warmth from the illumination was unmistakable, radiating against the pilots' faces. Terauchi felt a deep unease. Never had he witnessed something so unsettling in all his thousands of flight hours. What followed next stunned the crew into near silence. The lights revealed themselves as two distinct craft, cylindrical, maneuvering effortlessly and silently alongside the aircraft. Their coordinated movements defied gravity, displaying precise control no human-made aircraft could achieve. As they hovered alarmingly close, the crew struggled to rationalize what their eyes were seeing. Then, in a sudden, mesmerizing shift, the two objects vanished, only to be replaced immediately by a single, gigantic disc-shaped object trailing behind them. The pilots stared in awe. Terauchi described it later as twice the size of an aircraft carrier, a breathtaking claim that conveyed the enormity of what they faced. Heartbeats quickened, breathing sharpened, and fear mixed with a reluctant sense of wonder. The crew radioed Anchorage desperately, hoping someone, anyone, on the ground could confirm what they were experiencing. Controllers listened, startled by the escalating urgency in their voices. But initial radar sweeps found nothing, leaving the crew isolated in their surreal encounter. And then, just as abruptly as it appeared, the enormous craft silently withdrew, fading back into the darkness from which it had emerged. The crew, physically unharmed but emotionally shaken, felt a profound relief mixed with bewilderment. Yet, questions lingered heavily. What exactly had confronted them in those dark Alaskan skies? And would anyone ever truly believe their story? The answers would not come easily. Instead, they would trigger investigations and debates lasting decades. But before understanding the theories and the contradictions, we must first confront the immediate aftermath, the stunned silence and stark disbelief awaiting the pilots upon landing. Echoes in the dark. As soon as the aircraft touched down in Anchorage, the crew found themselves at the center of an unprecedented media storm. Local newspapers quickly ran with the story, amplifying public curiosity and skepticism alike. Officials initially reacted cautiously, uncertain how to respond to claims that defied conventional aviation logic. Within hours, FAA investigators arrived to debrief the pilots, carefully documenting each detail, but remaining notably neutral. The initial radar confusion deepened the mystery. Civilian radar controllers at Anchorage detected nothing definitive. Yet radar technicians at Elmendorf Air Force Base admitted they had picked up fleeting, unexplained blips around the aircraft's position. This inconsistency became a central puzzle. If radar saw something, even briefly, did that validate the pilot's extraordinary claims, or was it simply an instrument anomaly? Witness consistency was rigorously examined. Captain Terauchi and his crew, highly trained professionals, remained firm in their detailed descriptions, unwavering under scrutiny. Yet skeptics quickly emerged. Philip J. Klass, a prominent UFO skeptic, suggested that the pilots had misidentified celestial objects such as Jupiter and Mars, noting these planets were unusually bright that evening. He attributed the crew's vivid descriptions to atmospheric conditions and fatigue-induced visual illusions. But experts didn't all share Klass's dismissiveness. Dr. Bruce Maccabee, a respected optical physicist and ufologist, argued passionately that the case was unique, citing radar anomalies, credible eyewitness testimony, and precise flight data as strong evidence against simplistic explanations. Aviation psychologists acknowledged potential perceptual errors, but conceded the crew's credibility complicated easy dismissal. The media frenzy polarized public opinion sharply. Some fully embraced the crew's story, believing wholeheartedly in extraterrestrial visitation, while others insisted it was a misunderstood natural event or secretive military test, perhaps experimental technology inadvertently exposed. Still, the lack of concrete physical evidence frustrated investigators. There were no scorch marks, radiation traces, or any direct physical remnants, only radar echoes and pilot accounts, each compelling yet incomplete. Ultimately, the incident entered history as one of the most credible and perplexing aerial mysteries. FAA officials publicly admitted the pilots were sincere, but offered no satisfying resolution. leaving the door open for continued speculation and debate. This absence of closure guaranteed the incident's enduring fascination, becoming a benchmark in UFO research. Yet, despite exhaustive analysis, intense scrutiny, and decades of theorizing, no single explanation has resolved every contradiction. The truth, it seems, remains elusive, locked within the radar screens and the memories of those who witnessed something inexplicable high above the Alaskan wilderness. To truly appreciate the complexity of this unsolved aerial puzzle, we must confront the questions that persist to this day. What exactly did those radar screens capture? And why does this mystery still defy explanation? A lasting mystery. Decades later, the skies over eastern Alaska remain silent, but the questions still resonate loudly. No official explanation has ever satisfactorily unraveled the tangled web of radar anomalies, credible eyewitness testimonies, and the strange objects witnessed that cold November evening. The crew's account, despite intense scrutiny and skepticism, remains consistent and unshaken. For Captain Terauchi and his colleagues, the encounter had profound personal and professional impacts. Terauchi himself was quietly reassigned a silent acknowledgement of the controversy and doubt shadowing his credibility. Yet he never wavered from his claims, repeatedly insisting, "We saw what we saw." Debate persists to this day. Could the objects encountered that evening have been advanced classified military technology? Perhaps so advanced it remains hidden even now. Or was this truly an encounter with something beyond our current understanding of aviation and physics? Despite exhaustive analysis by experts from every relevant field, aviation, psychology, physics, the incident defies a tidy explanation. In the quiet expanse of Alaskan skies, the unanswered echoes of this encounter linger. The deeper truth behind this aerial mystery remains elusive, compelling us to ask ourselves, is our understanding of reality limited? Or is there a simpler truth we've overlooked entirely? Ultimately, the mystery endures, inviting each of us to gaze upward into the night and wonder quietly, are we truly alone? Was Captain Terauchi's encounter above Alaska genuine contact with an unknown intelligence? Or is there a simpler earthly explanation hidden within radar echoes and human perception? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below.